What's going on, everybody? It's Matt Faircloth. Welcome to the DeRosa Insiders live stream program. Thank you if you guys are watching this on any of our live channels, such as YouTube, such as Facebook, such as LinkedIn, wherever it is you're watching. Thank you. And this may go out on Spotify. So if you're watching on Spotify, thank you also. We had a good program today, guys. We're going to be looking back. And it's important to look back so that you can look forward, right? It's why there's no way you can plan forward in your business or in your life, dare I say, if you don't look backwards at the successes and losses. So we're going to be talking today about successes and losses that we've had here at the DeRosa Group. And, just challenges and successes, all it is. We're going to be talking about moving forward, maybe even some big, hairy, wild predictions for 2025. And that on today's program. So really exciting show for you guys. I hope you guys can stick around. If you guys are watching live, please comment. Give me a few shout outs here in the comment bar on whatever medium you're watching. Let me know that you're out there. I'd love to hear from you guys as well too. So let me bring in my co-host for today, my partners in crime, my brothers from other mothers, starting out with my man, Hervé Francois. As my first co-host for today. Let's bring him in onto the live stream program. What's up, Hervé? How are you today, brother?
Matt, it's always a pleasure to be here. What is going on, man?
End of the year. It's been a minute since you've been on the DeRosa Insiders live stream, man. Thank you for taking your time out of looking at deals, making it rain, acquiring things here on the DeRosa side. As our acquisitions manager, man, I'm my business partner, sometimes running around, looking at new opportunities. We're going to bring in our other guy, who's our DeRosa firefighter. He's the guy with the fire extinguisher, keeping the trains running on time. Operations manager, always, sometimes putting you and me in a headlock as well. He's the adult in the room, Justin Fraser. Let's bring him in.
Firefighter, adult in the room. We got Hammer. What am I in?
He's
now?
The youngest of the three of us, but also probably the most mature of the three of us.
Story of my life. Story
of my life. That's probably very true. It's very, very
true.
Yeah. He wears that label very well.
Oh, man. How's it going today? What's happening?
We're great. I'm great. Hope you guys are great too. Well, we got this exciting conversations we want to have today because, I don't know why it is. I guess it's just because the end of the year, but New Year's and end of the year tends to cause you to get a little bit more reflective. I find that I get reflective on my birthday and reflective on New Year's, as I start looking back, looking forward. Right. And so I wanted to sit down with you guys and look back over 2024 and talk about, obviously it ain't all sunshines and roses. It's not all perfect, but we certainly had some sunshine and had plenty of roses too. We also learned a few things too. So I wanted to go through with you guys just what happened looking back through the year. Just ways that things we could celebrate and things that man, we'll do that again, So let's I want to get into it into today's show with you guys. So let's hop in and start to unpack it a little bit. Which one of y'all want to go first? Well, what jumps out at you guys as a look back from 2024, like positive or negative, thorns and roses, whatever you guys got on the look back from the year.
Justin, I'll let you start, man, because there's been some real big metamorphosis events that have taken place.
You mean like the entire company we launched and operated
That's
since
exactly
January 1st of this year?
That's
what else we got to do?
Keeping me a little bit busy.
That's exactly what
that little thing.
Little
venture keeping us a little busy.
Man, it's only almost been a year.
Can you believe it? It was around about a year and a half ago, we said, let's go build our own management company. And it was around about a year ago, we pulled the trigger and took over our Kentucky portfolio January 1st of this year, and the rest of our portfolio February 1st. And so, we've been in operation now just about a year. So fully operational for a year coming up. And we've had our lessons learned, that's for sure. But you know what? We're figuring it all out, figuring out how everything from payroll systems to people to management and technology works. I mean, you know, we at DeRosa, you know, our investment company, we've got a small little company here, right? We've got a couple folks spread around the country, which is great, right? We've got a nice management company, but then you add in the management company with all the staff, 40 to 50 people across every office that we have. And now you're dealing with a lot of personalities and a lot of HR and a lot of staff management, and it just makes everything exponential in terms of management. And so there's been a lot of lessons learned there. But yeah, it's been a wild ride, but it's been great.
Let's lean in there for a second. Like, why would an owner of real estate go do something so crazy as to go and start their own management company? I mean, like, you know, I mean, you probably ask yourself questions some days too, like what?
Because they have two business partners who twist their arm until they do it.
Yeah, I know. I think I might have brought it up, you know, 7 or 8 dozen times before we actually did it. Like, exactly. The cool kids are doing. The cool kids that I look up to are out there and they manage their own stuff. And it's a great idea, Justin. You know why? Because I don't have to do it. I have to implement it. I can just give the idea and you do it, you know? Right. And you did. But why? But like, for those watching, why would somebody be so crazy as to start their own management company to run their own assets? Why should somebody watching think about doing that themselves?
Look, what we were experiencing, what I still see talked about online every day, if you're talking and looking on any kind of online forums, people's challenges in multifamily, the attention being paid by third-party multifamily property management companies. The fact is you're just not going to get the level of service from a third party company that you are as if you're taking care of your own asset. You're not going to get the level of care. There's just a pure disconnect in knowing that you're taking care of your asset the same way someone else is, right? And so if you built the company and it's your asset that your company is taking care of and managing, then you know that every decision being made for that asset is in the best interest of the asset, the people that work there, the investors, all the way up and down the line. If you have a third party that gets paid on fees, or maybe based on how much spending is happening at that property, then maybe they're incentivized to spend a little more so that there's more fees that are generated based on the spending that happens, right? And so there's all different ways that that third-party company can be incentivized to generate fees, and that may not be in alignment with the best interest of the property. And so you start to see misalignment between the management company and the property itself and the ownership group. And so alignment, control, all great reasons to have and build your own management company. Now, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not a quick thing to do. There's a lot of moving pieces. It's a very heavy challenge, but at the end of the day, if you find that yourself needing that control, as many people in this industry are moving towards a vertically integrated model, I think that that's pretty much the way most companies are going to go. That it's pretty much necessary these days because no one's going to take care of your property like you will.
Somebody's watching this right now. They got 2 units. They got a duplex, something like that. They don't live in it. Should they manage that themselves?
A duplex for sure. Yeah.
If that's the only asset they got.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's going to depend on your goals, right? If you are a dentist and you love being a dentist and you've only got time to do dentist things in your life and you have a duplex and you don't ever care and the management fee is not going to make a difference in your life and you don't ever want to think about that property, then sure, hire a property manager and never think about managing that property ever. But if you are someone who wants to manage that property and learn the business of property management because you think you might buy more and start to scale a portfolio and build some more properties, then sure, self-manage, learn the business of management. There's nothing wrong with learning that, certainly in that small space of 2 units, 3 units, 4, 5, 10 units, even. Definitely. I manage all my smaller properties. Then I hired a third party when I brought on a 40 unit. But because I had self-managed, I kind of knew what to look for and how to lease a unit and everything else. And I think that helped me ask better questions when I went to vet property management companies.
Yeah.
And then now here we are back in the self-management game, at a much larger scale.
The biggest learnings that I've had, and that's our man Arn Sandella, by the way, former best ever
What's up, Arn?
guest, watching live right now. Arn, appreciate you, man. I gotta tell you, I don't know if Arn agrees with this or not. Justin, I know you've had this, I've had these talks. Managing yourself is one of the best ways to learn this business. You're not going to learn as much if you don't put some time in. And yes, it's not the most efficient. Yes, you're probably better off being the dentist or being whatever your day job is or your usual trade versus real estate. But if you really want to make a run at real estate full time, being as immersed in it as possible is the way you're going to learn. And that's where I learned a lot of the lessons that I learned about real estate, and a lot of the stories I talk about on my YouTube channel and whatnot about this business are from managing myself. That's where I learned a lot of it, and a lot of the crazy stories that I'll lay
fun
down.
Stories too, right? That's how you learn.
Good ones, crazy stories that you can stop a cocktail hour, or you can music stop and start telling your landlord stories are all from self-management, but also the lessons that you're able to apply over and over again are from that too. So we self-managed here at DeRosa, went from 8, 9 employees to, I think north of 50 now, right? Yep. Overnight with bringing management in-house, correct?
Which came with a amazing benefit for us, right? Which meant that we could get healthcare all of a sudden.
Yeah. Boom. There it is.
There's a nice unexpected benefit, right? Well, suddenly we had enough buying power that our little investment group couldn't, but because we had enough buying power with all the rest of us with the management company, we're big enough now that we actually could provide healthcare options and even for us. So that was a nice unexpected benefit that actually I have not heard that.
Company.
But have you heard that as a benefit when people talk about going vertically integrated? I have not, but that is something that is a legitimate
It's a big
thing that is a legitimate expense that most people don't really talk about. And so for my family, at least, that's very important to have healthcare coverage. And so it's amazing for us. And I know for your families and for all of our employees as well. And so that makes our company even more attractive, our investment company, because we can now offer benefits of a company that has way, way more people in it than just our little investment company. We have a much more powerful company behind us because behind the scenes, we're all one large company.
I think that it gives you that much leverage overnight that you are now a mid-sized company that's bringing in significant amount of revenue. Yes, you're paying a lot of dollars out the door too, but you're bringing in a lot of dollars coming in. You're paying out a lot of payroll. And I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but if you look back at your portfolio, if you've got a reasonable sized portfolio of real estate that you own, that someone else is managing for you, just look at the amount of staff that they're using to run the assets that you own and realize, hey, wait a minute, those could be my people too. And you haven't touched on this yet, but I know it's very important. We just had an incident the other day of misalignment with the company culture we're trying to build. And in hiring a third-party management company, you got to kind of deal with it because your culture is filtered at the least through the culture that PM company is conveying, right? They've got their own culture, their own employee standards, their own everything, their own, if a resident responds a certain way, the employee is supposed to respond a certain way back and everything like that. If they're our people, we can train that from the bottom up. And that, to me, that's been, aside from the benefits of being a mid-sized company, just being able to control the way that the team members respond to the residents and the way that the business gets handled, I think has been astronomical. And we've only seen the beginning of the benefits of that in doing this for just a year.
Yeah. And I get a glimpse of that every time I visit a property, and someone walks in and I get to see an interaction with a prospect or a resident and how A maintenance person is interacting with someone who walks in with a question, or just, if we're walking a property with a maintenance tech and they get pulled aside by somebody that has a question, and just how that interaction goes. Like they're representing us as owners, because we're not on property all the time. The team is, we're not going into those units. The maintenance team is, we're not there asking for rent to be collected. The leasing staff and office staff is. And so how they represent us, how they are interacting, how they present themselves is all a reflection of us as a company. And so you're absolutely right that culture, the standard has to be, it's got to be a great fit, and they have to make sure that they represent the DeRosa core values, and that we're all in alignment with how we want to be represented, and that they are a good fit for us.
Yeah. So that's a DeRosa Living big win for the year overall. Any challenges you got? I mean, the challenge was all easy. This whole thing, Justin, you just kind of waltzed through the year through 2024. Just tap dance through 2024, right, Justin?
Yes. I'll just say yes, plenty. The usual many challenges, but I've got good people on my team to handle all the challenges that come up, and we just work through it every day. So there's all the challenges.
Like, there's always challenges. I mean, every time I talk to you, it's like, oh man, we had a fire at this property, or we just had our key employee quit at this property.
That's it.
There's always something.
Every day there's no calm weeks. There's no calm months. There's always an inspection coming, a refinance coming, a sale coming, an acquisition coming, a staff member quit, a new hire coming. Like there's always something, and if not, then there's a hurricane coming. Like literally, like all else is quiet. There's literally
a town inspector deciding that they're that we're the worst thing ever, and they're going to come and throw lots of violations at us, and you got to go and real true story, fly out there and meet with the town inspector and say, hey, see, we're actually not that bad. Company. Well, we actually really do care, and convince those town inspectors that we're actually the same things they do, which is a quality, safe place for people to live.
I will tell that as a win. I was going to say that for later, but since you're popping that one out now, yes. So that was for me. I think a great lesson for learn for this year for me was sitting down with city code officials in a town that we have operated in for years, but never taken the time to sit down with not only code officers, but the supervisor to say like, hey, let's level set here, right? You've written this up left and right. You come into close 2, you're writing 3 new tickets on the way out the door. Like what's going on here? Let's sit down and level set on expectations, and, make sure we understand where we're coming from. And, we're not sitting, at the top of our throne room in Manhattan here. Like what's going on? Let me explain to you how we operate, what we're looking for, what our goals are. Let me hear from you what your goals are. No set agenda except to really understand each other, understand where you're coming from. Let me tell you about us. Let's understand the process of how, you do what you do. And my team on the ground was there, and really had a great meeting, which ended up being 2.5 hours, where we came to a really solid understanding of how the process works, which is not documented anywhere in the world. It's not anywhere on the website or anything else. Information about how to work through compliance schedules that is told in like side conversations, but never properly communicated. Whole appeal process things that have never been properly communicated. Also, questions that came up that basically great productive conversation that led to really solid mutual understanding, great follow-up since then through email. And so really just, shined a light on the fact that like, hey, we're a stakeholder in this town. We probably should have sat down with this department a long time ago, and now getting it on the schedule in Q1 to do with the other towns that we're heavily invested in as well, because it's absolutely critical that we do that. And so that's going to be become part of our process moving forward. we're gonna go buy in a new town. We're gonna sit down with that code office.
Go meet with the government.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. Like, hey,
I think
I'm in town. We want to sit down with
that's
the code office. We want to understand it, how you guys operate, what you're looking for, what your goals are, because we want to be stakeholders with you guys. We want to make sure we're working towards the same goals.
Yeah, I got to tell you guys. I just comment on this real quick before we move on. When I was a rising Trenton landlord, there was a mantra, a kind of way of being around a lot of other landlord buddies that I had, and I went by this rule too. Sometimes is like kind of stay below the radar with regards to the local town. But there's only but so far you can get in doing that and in keeping things away from the local town. And I'm not saying do these illegally. It's just like, don't talk to them, don't communicate. If they come out to inspect you, then just do what they tell you to do and don't try and make friends or don't try and put yourself into their under their targets any more than you need to. Very short-sighted, because when they do come out for your inspections, when they do see what you're doing, they're going to assume that you're cutting corners and you're doing things the wrong way, whether you are or not, right? It is much more forthright to put yourself into the like, hey, this is what I'm doing, town. Help me do this, because they really want the same things that you do. So DeRosa Insiders listeners, everybody watching here, it is the long game to communicate directly with public officials, inspectors, all the zoning officers, all those folks, and just do it the right way. It might be a little more difficult, but they're going to help you. They really want to help.
That's really boiled down.
The only reason they bust balls is because there are a lot of people out there that are bending the rules and that are being slumlords. And don't be a slumlord. If you're not a slumlord, you make sure they know that. They will try and help you. So somebody
had given them an impression about us, and I think it was a false one.
And it wasn't true.
And so that's why I wanted to go face to face and let them meet me, an owner, one of the three owners of the company. And they said, "Oh, there's only three of you." And I said, "Yeah, I'm one of the three." And talked about what we do and who we are, and like just put a face to the company. Not a billionaire, not a huge hedge fund. Like, it's me.
I'm going to
threatening.
Rashid had a question here, Hervé, and I'm going to throw this one over to you. What are our stretch goals? And then we'll get into talk about how acquisitions and your challenges and successes, but I want to acknowledge our audience here. Sure. What is a stretch goal that you see, whether it's in the company in general, acquisitions, anything you want to toss out there that is like a bit of a reach, but it's attainable? What do you think?
So, Rashid, we have different aspects of our business, right? Justin just finished talking about DeRosa Living. We still obviously have our acquisitions team, and then we have the DeRosa Income Fund. I would say all three divisions have their stretch goals for 2025, right? As well as things that we do internally for the company, the foundation of the company that supports DeRosa Living, as well as the acquisitions, as well as the DeRosa Income Fund. So DeRosa Living, and I'll let Justin kind of pontificate a little bit more on the stretch goals for DeRosa Living going into 2025. I would say, and we've spoken about this before, not all the pieces put in place yet, but at some point to go ahead and provide consulting services to real estate owners that would like to go ahead and think about launching their own property management company for their real estate portfolio with all of the knowledge that Justin has, along with our other asset manager, Tara Smiley has. There's a lot of wealth of information that DeRosa Living can provide to owners there, as well as maybe depending on perhaps being opportunistic about it, third-party property management. So I would say those are some of the stretch goals for DeRosa Living. Nothing necessarily quantifiable, unless Justin and Tara have been putting some numbers behind some of those possibilities. I would say on the acquisition side, we have been really, really, I want to say blessed of going into these other asset types besides just multifamily this year. And as Justin was talking about DeRosa Living, when I could tell you what's been happening on the acquisition side as One Door I'm not going to say the acquisition door closed this year. Let's say it was perhaps changed and it took on a few different colors and so on and so forth. So the acquisition store is still very much open, but it took on I would say like a different skin this year, where we got into some really nice development opportunities in a brand new city where we had not been acquiring assets before. And then we're continuing to look at hotel deals. So stretch goal for 2025, I would say even more development deals for DeRosa Group next year, as well as expanding our hotel portfolio. And then we're going to continue to look at deals in our targeted markets for secondary manufacturing acquisitions. DeRosa Income Fund, sky is the limit on that beautiful baby. I think we're targeting to go from about 8 million in assets under management today to 20 million by this time next year, right? Absolutely. So that's a stretch goal for DeRosa Income Fund.
Huge stretch goal. Yeah.
And then I would just say, lastly, a lot of the discussions that Matt, Justin, myself have in regards to DeRosa Group management, corporate, some of the things, right? We're always focusing on our people, right? We're focusing on, do we have the right people in the right seats? Do we need to bring on more? Do we need to put on some responsibilities, additional responsibilities to some of the teammates that we do have? So that is a constant discussion that we have, because we are really, truly as good as our team members, right? And they've been absolutely outstanding for us, right? We have some fits and starts throughout the year, as any small company would, but we're certainly on the trajectory that we want to be. We're really excited about it. So stretch goal 2025 on the corporate side, I don't think it's a race to go ahead and hire a bunch of people, but truly making sure that the folks that are in the seats that they are really in the optimal seat that they're supposed to be in.
Absolutely. Justin, any other stretch goals you want to throw out there for where you want to see 2025 go for the company?
Well, we got new asset classes we want to get into, as Hervé said. Yep. But no, I think Hervé, you nailed it, man. You covered every for the company there. So I think you got it.
All right, Hervé, let's look back. 2024. Tough year on acquisitions, man. I mean, like it's like every seller got frozen in 2022, and nobody gave them the memo that interest rates and cost of capital had gone way, way, way up, which is going to drive up cap rates on deals, right? So the sellers and brokers seem to be the only ones that didn't get the memo on changing, right? So what was the challenges and successes that you saw on our side on acquisitions in buying new properties and finding opportunities for the company to get itself into?
Listen, man, that's a great question. Challenges, I mean, is amazing, right? Each of these real estate groups, obviously us included, we go into a year with our plans, with our goals and things like that. And they're really, really attainable goals and plans. And then along the way, right, something happens, and that's typically externally, right? A couple of years ago, there was a pandemic. This year, it was higher rates and the impact the higher rates had on your portfolio and things like that. So I think some of the challenges that we had this year is, even though we literally underwrote 51 deals this year. Now that's down from underwriting about 175 deals last year. So even though we underwrote about 51 multifamily deals this year, and we submitted a whole bunch of LOIs, I would say probably close to 20 to 30 LOIs. It was disappointing that we really didn't nail on any of those. That being said, although it's disappointing because you like to view making an acquisition as a win, but at the same time, we were very disciplined. And I'm glad that we remained very disciplined, because even some of those deals that we were looking at earlier this year, they are already hurting right now because that buyer perhaps went ahead and just spent too much on it, right? They put the wrong kind of debt on that deal and so on and so forth, right? And they're not hitting it, right? Just cost of renovation started going up. All of a sudden they had to go ahead and temporarily hold off on paying distributions to their investors. So some of the challenges was underwriting deals in a rising rate environment and really, believing that you're going to have a big number in acquisitions this year. That was truly the biggest challenge. And again, it's an external factor, truly out of everyone's control. I guess, and I keep on using this word blessing, and I equate that to, we couldn't have launched DeRosa Living in a better year. We could have launched DeRosa Living at a time when multifamily deals and acquisitions were going through the roof, right? In a great environment. We could have done it then, right? But as we know, when you are basking in the light of successes, you don't see a lot of errors. You don't see a lot of mistakes. You don't see a lot of trips and falls. It's not until business starts to slow down, rates go up, you can't add new projects into your portfolio, then you start taking a look at your own portfolio and you're like, we need to pay better attention to this. What can we do ourselves to maximize NOI? We know we got these third-party property managers and they keep on telling us a lot of good things, but can we be doing something even better than they're doing? And I think that one of the impetus in us going ahead and launching DeRosa Living earlier this year. And it was a great thing that we did because we were able to go ahead and focus on improving the performance of the portfolio. And it has. We look fast forward, 11 months since we went ahead and started DeRosa Living. I don't think our portfolio would be operating in the manner it is today if we had not launched DeRosa Living and it was still those third-party property managers in Kentucky and North Carolina that was managing our properties. So to that, again, salute that we had launched DeRosa Living when we did. So again, huge success story in that. And DeRosa Living, sky's the limit for them too, right? In regards to the potential where it can go.
So it was a good foundational piece for the company. Like it was a good foundation that we have that we can build on top of now.
Absolutely.
So looking forward, we got that foundation built. We've proven that we can raise, second half of 2024, raised a good amount of equity for new deals that came in, more development deals, versus traditional multifamily. So we pivoted a little bit on the deals we got ourselves into. We got the foundation of DeRosa Living so we can run what we buy the DeRosa way. What's next? What do you see for 2025 coming down the pipe for DeRosa? Like, what are you, where would you like to see us go as big, hairy, audacious goals on the acquisition side next year?
Yeah, going in 2025, big, hairy, audacious goals. I certainly would like to see us expand our portfolio on the development side. We could talk about geographies and where and where rents are going to be going next year, depending on what part of the geographic market that you're in and things like that. Still bullish on the Midwest. I think things are going to start improving in the Sun Belt markets, but not until the second half of next year. But specifically for us, I'd like to certainly see us expand our portfolio on new development side. As we all know, we've got some things in backlog right now, if you'd say, that we're currently working on that I'm excited that we're going to be able to put out to our investors, perhaps in the first quarter of next year. On the acquisition side, we're going to be, I'm looking forward to attending NMHC in late January next year and just kind of circling up with a lot of the brokers and telling them about what some of our acquisition goals are for 2025. And again, that's probably going to be expanding on our portfolios in the Carolinas, changing our buy box a little bit, which, as you guys know, we did several months ago, not going to the oldest vintage properties, in those areas, more so looking at properties that were built in the 80s, early 90s and newer, and so on and so forth, still with that value add component. And then also the third leg is on the hotel assets, right? We're really fortunate to have our underwriter, Heath Patel, that comes from that world, that comes from that tutelage of underwriting and managing hotel deals. As you know, we're underwrote 50 hotel deals this year. That's up from about 18 to 20 hotel deals that we underwrote last year. So I'm certainly expecting that we're going to have some nice announcements again in the first quarter of next year about some hotel deals that we're working on. So we're excited. We're pumped up. We're going to still look very, very closely at what's going on with interest rates and in the direction that they go, the overall impact that they may have on development deals, acquisition deals, even hotel deals, because it impacts CMBS rates as well for the hotel deals and things like that. But we're excited. We're pumped up. And if there's one thing that I can share, to the listeners here, don't try to time the market. If you find a good deal, if you need to make a good deal, make that good deal, purchase that good deal today, right? We're not in control of the rates, right?
Yeah.
There are other line items that you can go ahead and manage that can go ahead and offset any kind of impact that rates have on those deals. So,
Guys, if you get a good deal, the cash flows day one, cash flows now, it sure doesn't matter what rates are, does it? I mean, if it cash flows under today's interest rates, if rates go down, you're cash flowing. If rates go up, don't refinance. Keep the rate you got, and you've locked deals up under under semi-long-term debt, like 3 to 5 years kind of thing. If they cash flow now, that's great. They're going to keep cash flowing into the future. That's what I saw in 2008 when things got real squirrely. The stuff that I had with cash flowing kept cash flowing through all that mayhem. So great stuff, Hervé. Thank you. My quick notes here, guys, on moving forward. There you go. That she wanted to know how we're going to attract investors. Well, your timing is perfect, Ashiel. Let's touch on that. Yeah. I think that looking back as a company, what I saw that we did well in regards to raising investors was continuous engagement. And that's what we're going to continue to do. We're going to be doing more webinars, more educational webinars, more teaching investors about all the things that a passive investor cares about. Everything from how to quit your job, your day job through passive investing. A lot of us want to know that. Maybe they want to find a way to exit from their day job earlier, but not start a new company to do that. Maybe they want to achieve the FIRE movement initiatives and stuff like that. We've created webinars on how to do that and how to leverage the DeRosa investment products to help you get there that much faster. There's a lot more education coming down the way to help a passive investor be that much stronger. So we're really leaning in to what's worked through last year, through 2024. And another thing is DeRosa Income Fund. DeRosa Income Fund is really leveraged towards short-term bridge debt. And also in creating jobs and housing. So it's a mission-based cash flow investment. And as Hervé said, we're about to cross over 8 million. Our goal is to bring that over 20 million, and maybe even leveraging in some bank partnerships to take it beyond there. So that's going to be really exciting for DeRosa Income Fund. And I think that DeRosa has learned how to manage and set up a fund. And so there will likely be one, maybe even 2 funds launched at DeRosa in 2025 that'll be aimed towards long-term multifamily holds, not short-term bridge. Short-term bridge is a great place to start with investor capital. That's how I got started. When I wrote Raising Private Capital, most of the money that I raised was in short-term bridge deals that I was doing, like for fix and flips and Burr project. And I grew eventually into taking that equity and doing long-term holds. So we're now going to graduate as a fund company and take those dollars and put them into multifamily acquisitions and maybe into hotels as well, as Hervé had said, because I really love the hotel model. It's a great cash cow. It's a great way to serve people. Employs a lot of team members. So a great way to create a lot of great jobs for people and give people above standard, hospitality experiences when they're on the road. So I see DeRosa really achieving probably 20 million or more in total equity. To Rashid's question earlier, we are not going to be looking for family. I mean, if a family office comes in, kicks our door in and wants to give us money that works for us, great. But we are not, nor we've raised, I think we're over 70 million now in equity the company's raised. Yep. Not once have we taken a check from private equity, from family offices, from Wall Street Capital. There's nothing wrong with that, but we'd rather work with the individual one-off investor that's not going to put 50 million into our deals, but that's going to put 50K into our deals. And that's okay, because we are structured and we want to serve the masses. And it's not that you don't serve the masses when you work with large institutional capital like that. It's just that we'd rather do it differently. And we'd rather, to be, from a company standpoint, also really be the director on how the dollars get put to work. And institutional capital, guys, just Rashid specifically talking to you, because I can tell by your question that you're maybe thinking of going to family offices. Understand, unless you have multiples more under management than that family office is going to be giving you. So if they're going to give you like 5 million, you better have 20, 30 million at work already or they will absolutely own you. They'll tell you exactly where the money can go, where it can't go, and they will put you on a very tight leash and be able to take the asset back from you if it doesn't go exactly the way they expect it to. So, I mean, Hervé, any thoughts on raising money from onesie twosie investors and just, individuals, and going more boots on the ground with investors versus going institutional? I know you did institutional for 23 years on Wall Street.
Yeah.
So, and then now you're working, dealing with mom and pop investor here at DeRosa. So any differences in the two on why DeRosa would want to stay with mom and pop investor versus going institutional next year?
Well, I think for several reasons that you want to stay with DeRosa Group versus going, on the institutional side. And I think some of those is the communication, the transparency that we provide to our investors, particularly when you think about the syndication deals that we do. I think a focus that we need to establish, and we've already started to establish, is the deals that we get into on the acquisition side, multifamily, and whatnot, is, they're not going to have the big undertakings, the biggest renovations that we have done in the past and whatnot. We're going to probably pump the brakes on a little bit. There's still going to be value add, but it's not going to be value add that we have to replace every single roof and every single pipe, and because they're cast iron and so on and so forth, right? There's probably going to be light to medium type renovations. And again, just to give our investors a little bit more clarity and some more transparency as to when they should expect their distributions and the refinances and so on and so forth, right? So not to put ourselves in the bind that the only way that we have a really attractive internal rate of return or cash on cash is if, we wind up executing on every single one of these, 85, events on the checklist that we put together on our business plan, right, in order to go ahead and provide the returns to our investors. So that 85-point checklist on renovation is going to get cut back to perhaps 20 to 25, if you will, and allow Justin and Tara to sleep a little easier at night, so to speak. I think that again, it's a communication, it's a transparency, and it has to be a consistency, right? I mean, we had a very large investor come into our DeRosa Income Fund a few weeks ago, pretty much gave us half of their retirement fund and whatnot. And I think it's because of the consistency that they saw in our returns that we've been having DeRosa Income Fund up and running since August of last year, in print that it pays out 8% annualized return to our investors. We've actually been hitting closer to 9.5% over the past several months, again on an annualized basis. So it's things like that, right? And that, again, the quick phone, the quick phone call to our investor relations head, Jacob Sandoval, if they have any questions on their distributions, they have any questions on the performance of the deals and things like that, which you're not going to be able to get from a traditional portfolio manager managing a fund on Wall Street and things like that, right? So we just have to continue to be great stewards of capital of our investors. We have to be very disciplined on the deals that we go ahead and approach, how we go about by raising the capital, the type of debt that we put on that deal, and then, of course, the management of that deal with DeRosa Living, right? And just not staying out of skis, staying within our expertise, staying within our lane of what we do well collectively, so we can continue to provide those real nice returns to the investors.
It's great. I mean, and I think that institutional capital is not going to let you pivot, right?
Right.
And one of the successes we've had is being able to pivot into development deals. You can't go to institutional capital and say, hey, guess what I want to do? I want to go build this 36-unit apartment building out in Minnesota. Whereas with smaller investors, you can create enrollment around the vision, and you can paint that picture, and investors say, okay, I get it. I see what you're doing. I'm in. Whereas with institutional, we wouldn't be able to move as quickly as well. So for all the reasons, I think that it's just worked better for us. So Aisha, I would just say quick, you had asked about AI. And it's certainly, we are using AI now already, mostly on the marketing and sales side. We use AI to make things, written content, sound better. So we might have AI edit a few of our emails that we send out to just make them more appealing. We are also using AI for things like video descriptions and SEO, for anything we put online, to make sure that we are putting things out in the best way for things to get noticed online, right? AI is great at that. We are talking about AI on other sides of the business, and that, I mean, I think that there are products that are coming out on the AI side that I think that will be more prevalent. You know, I mean, Justin, you, for example, we were in a contract with a vendor, and you weren't sure, you know, if the vendor was performing well, weren't sure if we were happy. Actually, no, you weren't happy, and so you used AI instead of going to a lawyer. Used AI to audit the contract and to find an exit clause, and you were able to find one. Correct? You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
I wouldn't necessarily say use AI instead of a lawyer, but for your own information, yeah, you can upload a PDF and say, hey, what are my, you know, what do the clauses say? What are my outs? What, you know, what are the performance measures here?
Yeah.
And it was definitely helpful for us to better understand, you know, the terms of the contract. So that was definitely helpful.
Yeah.
It's on the upswing, and you know, it's something that we're trying to use more and more in all different aspects of our business. There's also a lot of AI on the property management side in terms of leasing and follow up and all that we're looking to roll out as well.
So speaking of that, and if that's what you want to touch or whatever, but I'm going to give you guys free reign. Give me a wild prediction, not so much for what the company's going to do, but for the real estate market, our industry. Give me a wild prediction as we're reaching the top of the hour here, that you guys have for the industry that we're in. Could be anything. Could be rates, could be leasing, could be, you know, the bottom falling out in a crazy recession, whatever it is, whatever y'all want to predict. Give me a wild prediction that maybe people aren't thinking about. Yeah, aside from the fact that the Eagles will probably blow it again in the playoffs and the Mets will win the World Series. Those are my sports predictions. But Justin, give me one further that you got for wild predictions in the real estate industry.
I want to go after Hervé.
Hervé, go first
today, so I want Hervé to go first now.
Oh man, oh man, oh man! Wild prediction for the real estate industry in 2025. Wild prediction is I could see. Let me see here. No, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna.
I got one. Why do you think about that? Why do you think? Let me let you think for a minute. I got a prediction, and this is partly from Aisha throwing this out here on AI, and there's other ones that I could think of here. But I think that we will lease our first unit, and that we will have a AI voice interface that will full on rent an apartment for us, and maybe even speak to a tenant, whatever language they need to speak in whatever accent that we need it to speak in, and it will be able to collect rent, negotiate leases, follow up for us, and we will have a full AI interface for tenant issues and for enrollment and for leasing and everything like that. I believe that we will beta test that at DeRosa, and that will be something that will be stepping into the market next year. And that'll be the missing link you need is a voice interface that AI can use and it already exists. That already is there now. Gemini already has a voice control that can talk back to you. So all we need to do is train something like that to be able to lease a unit or collect rent. That will happen. Hopefully our company will be one of the beta testers of that technology. That is my crazy prediction for next year.
I will. Okay, here we go. I'm glad I thought of this one because my other one was a little on the pessimistic side. It's a holiday. And so on and so forth. But I will go. I believe so. My big carry prediction for 2025 is that investors in syndicated deals will be able to start trading their shares in one syndicated deal for another in 2025.
A real trading platform, real trading platform for people being able to sell seasoned equity or sell equity from something that they want to trade out of, really taking the Wall Street model off of Wall Street, putting it on a Main Street.
That's right.
Would love that. Yeah, use a little bit of blockchain in there too. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to put some blockchain in there, you could throw some blockchain in there and everything. Yes. Yes, is that
all that? Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Well, I think that will become mainstream. That secondary, I agree. Secondary equity trades will become more common, if not mainstream, in 2025.
Yes.
All right, Justin, we've watched you some time there, brother. What do you got?
I think we're gonna have a deal that's going to surprise all three of us this year. In terms of, I think we're going to sell something we're not planning to sell this year. Okay.
We're gonna buy something we ain't planning to buy.
Talk about 2025.
What?
Yeah.
Don't 2025.
2025.
Yeah. I think we're going to sell something that we today are not even thinking about selling. And I think we're going to buy something that we are not even expecting to buy. Because I think, and the reason is because I think that things are going to change very fast in January, February, and March. And I think that because we see interest rates have been starting to cut, and we know a new administration is coming in. And I think that very rapidly market conditions are going to start swirling and changing. And I think that nimble operating groups, the companies that can respond to change and recognize opportunity and move quickly, are going to be the ones that will be successful in 2025. And I think that if we're built as a nimble company, and if we can see that opportunity and move, we will recognize it and pounce onto something. And so I think that there will be big opportunity for us into something that will require us selling something that we are not even thinking about right now. So I think that there's going to be a lot of change coming in the first couple months of this year, given all the changes coming in our country. So,
well, you guys got me excited. That's the one constant in life is change, right? Hervé, what do you got?
No, I was telling Justin that one surprise of a sale that he is talking about that may happen in the first quarter of next year. Check your Slack message.
There we go.
Look at that.
There we go. All right.
Look at that.
Now you got me wanting to look, but I don't have to look. All right. Guys,
does that count? If you Slacked me about it already, I don't know.
I'll bring this home. Stay tuned, guys. So for the DeRosa Insiders followers, here's what we've got for you. If you guys are looking to have big, hairy, audacious things, and as Justin said, buy things you're not expecting to buy, bite off a little bit more than your the capacity that you think you're capable of is this. But really what's true is much bigger. If you're looking to exceed your own personal expectations of yourself in 2025, two things I got for you. Number one, we are going to be rolling out a product on just everything that me, Justin, and Hervé have learned over, probably, I don't want to say a number here, but maybe 60, 70 years worth of experience in this industry and in business of the three of us running things. What we've learned and how to do what we do is all going to be out there in a package for you guys to go and download, and literally all the tools that DeRosa uses, right? In that it's all going to be there for you guys to jump out and grab. Okay. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a revamp of our accelerator program, which is you guys are going to be able to jump out there and learn to do things in the DeRosa way on your own. You can build a DeRosa-esque company that's running around with, close to $100 million worth of other people's equity, and we'll teach you how to do everything we did, right? That's there. So stay tuned for that. Next thing is we're going to be doing a lot more authentic, transparent webinars, teaching you guys how to build a better, stronger passive investing initiative for yourself so you can achieve your goals and live the life of your dreams. We're going to be helping you guys do that in 2025 as well through monthly webinars. They're going to be teaching you everything from how to really, really leverage tax advantages to which asset class to get yourself into, to which markets of the U.S. you should be peeking into, all the things. We're going to be getting into that next year as well. And of course, DeRosa is going to be rolling out all kinds of new initiatives that we're doing, including new funds and that. So what better way to build a company that is on the right track like DeRosa is than to join DeRosa as a passive investor and join the transparent community that we have so people can see right through what we're doing and be involved in it as a passive investor and perhaps build something on your own. Aisha wanted to know, do we have internships for investor relations at DeRosa? I was wondering if there was an email or application. Yeah, never know, Aisha. Nabiku will send you Nabiku's our ghost in the machine. He'll ping you. We'll send you something. If you're open to do non-paid work,
we do not know how to contact her. So how can she contact him if Nabiku have her drop a?
Yeah, Nabiku can send you a DM. Nabiku, if you can send Aisha a direct message on Facebook. I love your moxie, love Rachel, like your questions. What's up?
He may not be able to do that if he's not friends with her. So let's give her an email that she can send to.
All right. info@DeRosaGroup.com. Aisha, info@DeRosaGroup.com or nray, R-A-Y, N as in Nancy, R-A-Y @DeRosaGroup.com. Fire a line to one of those two email addresses, and we will hear what you've got to offer us, because we always need great people, because we're going to great places, and we need great people to help us get to those great places too. So Aisha, thank you for your great questions today. Look forward to talking to you more offline. Justin and Hervé, thank you guys. It's been a great conversation as always, and yet another great year of business with you guys. Cannot wait to have a phenomenal 2025 for us to tackle together. What do you guys think?
Does this mean we're done for the year? Does this mean I get to take the rest of the year off?
That's it. You're done.
Done?
For the bourbon.
Doing anyway for the most part of this year, so it's pretty much constant and consistent with what you've been doing for the past 6 months.
Yeah, easy.
So there's that.
I'm not sure when Justin sleeps. Honestly, I don't know.
Oh, I had a newborn somewhere in there too.
A newborn at home.
You didn't
He's
have
got a thriving business that he's the only adult in the room running, and he's got a newborn at home. I'm not sure when he sleeps.
No, Kathy had the newborn. Justin didn't have the newborn.
She did have the newborn. She did the
big guys, and they would tell you there's a big difference.
She did, dude. She did.
They did. I get reprimanded when I'm like, "Oh, we're pregnant." When Liz and I are pregnant, like, we're pregnant. No, we are not.
Right.
So are you carrying around 40 pounds? That doesn't look like it. Yeah.
I agree. No. You're right. Bullying. You're right.
Anyway, on that note, guys, there's nobody I'd rather be riding into 2025 with aside from you guys. So thank you for joining us and our DeRosa Insiders listeners today. Looking forward to a phenomenal year together next year.
Likewise. Upward and onwards to everyone.
Absolutely.
Have a great holiday, everyone. Have a great holiday.
2025.
Everything.
Thank you, listeners, for your questions today.